Alright guys, welcome back to another one. So I want to talk about the Haley Joel Osment situation. This is something that I wasn't expecting to be on the 2025 bingo card, but I guess here we are. It's honestly quite a sad situation, just understanding all of the facts. Though at the same time too, it's quite conflicting and a little bit hard to navigate because Haley has unfortunately displayed some sort of inexcusable behavior, which he is aware of, he has apologized for. We'll talk about that. For those of you who don't know, Haley Joel Osment was arrested earlier this month at a California ski lodge. A story was posted by the New York Post, and this was for public intoxication, possession of an illegal substance, which I think it came out to be cocaine or something. I mean, really, who cares? As well as disorderly behavior. Naturally, this ended up doing the rounds over on Twitter, especially within the Kingdom Hearts community. To hear that, like, the voice actor of Sora had been arrested was like, whoa, okay, what's going on? I mean, at first, it just sort of seemed as if Haley was trying to blow off some steam, dude was living it up, and perhaps maybe he took it a little bit too far. I feel like a lot of us are kind of guilty of this. Shit happens, right? No judgment. If he had some illegal substance, so long as he's not inherently hurting anyone by being on that substance, I'm not going to judge anyone for, like, using or whatever. So long as you're not damaging yourself and, you know, everything within moderation, I'm not going to judge you. Fine, you do you, boo. Whatever keeps you happy. Again, so long as no one's being hurt. So yeah, there were a lot of jokes being thrown around on social media to do with, like, Haley and Kingdom Hearts and, you know, just different memes. I ended up quote tweeting the article saying something short like, damn bro, Sora succumbed to the darkness. And that ended up doing some rounds. What I didn't understand, and what I think a lot of people didn't understand, was Haley was actually the victim of the California fires earlier on in the year. He was one of the people that unfortunately lost his home and everything inside of it. And he's made it pretty clear that over the past few months, he's been struggling quite a bit. Understandably. I simply can't imagine being in a position where your entire house burns to the ground with all of your memorabilia inside of it. That is some heavy shit. He posted this over on social media earlier in the year, I believe over on Instagram. I unfortunately completely missed this. That's kind of crazy to know that Haley was affected by this. So when I found out about it, I quickly removed my tweet, and I think a lot of people just sort of approached the entire ordeal a little bit differently, understanding that this is likely coming from a place where he's intoxicated as a form of escapism to sort of deal with the hardships he's currently enduring. Understandable. I know from my own experience, I have used substance, alcohol, whatever in the past as a form of escapism to deal with depression that I'm dealing with. We're only human, and sometimes we get to a point where, like, shit just gets way too intense, where we can't deal with it, where we need some type of vice or outlet to make things a little bit easier. Unfortunately, though, when you're using alcohol and substance as a means to escape from reality, or to make things easier, to lessen the noise, oftentimes it can make situations 10 times worse. And this is definitely one of those situations, as shortly after this initial post was released by the New York Post, body cam footage of the police officer who arrested Haley was released. It's about a, like, almost 2-minute video of the entire situation going down. I'm not going to include it in this video. You can find it very easily by just simply Googling it. It's sort of like headlines at the moment, but just out of respect for Haley, I'm not going to include it in this video. Now, you can tell in the video that he's, like, pretty much blackout drunk, and he does mention that in his apology. Unfortunately, though, Haley Joel Osment was sort of wilding out at the police officers because, you know, he's blackout drunk, he's been arrested, what's going on? And he ended up calling one of the police officers an anti-Semitic Jewish slur, along with, like, a Nazi or something like that. I think all would have been fine if he didn't mention the specific group slur. That's sort of an issue. The reason why I say this is so conflicting is, like, you want to see the best in people, right? I mean, I know I do, and I can totally understand what this guy is going through. While I haven't lost my house or anything to that degree, I've certainly been in some incredibly dark situations where I've perhaps maybe had way too much to drink and have acted out. And yeah, unfortunately, when you're that zooted, you can act out of character very easy to do so. You've got this whole fuck the world mentality. And especially if you're in a situation of being arrested, some form of aggression is likely going to take place, verbal or physical. Thankfully, nothing physical took place here. Now at first, without knowing the context of the anti-Semitic slur that Haley had mentioned, I was saying, like, you know, I don't think this is going to affect Haley's work going forward, because a lot of people on the day this came out were saying, oh shit, like, does this mean that he's gonna lose his role as Sora? Like, is Disney going to give him the boot? Initially, no. I mean, you know, this happens to people. Like, I think people have to remember that celebrities are humans too. Like, they're constructed the exact same way. They're not some, like, omnipotent being that operates totally differently. Like, they're human, man. And there's been plenty of cases of celebrities, whether they have stuff to do with Disney or outside of Disney, whatever, slipping up, doing a whoopsie, making a mistake. All is fine. Haley actually found himself in another situation back in 2006. He was DUI'd, he was driving drunk, he was found to have a bit of weed on him or something like that. But he was fine after that. Like, there was no repercussion or backlash from him losing out on work because of that. However, I do believe now, knowing about the anti-Semitic slur, that Haley's position potentially might be jeopardized. Now, I'm personally hoping that the higher-ups at Disney, if we're just specifically focusing on Kingdom Hearts here, sort of has a little bit of compassion to understand what Haley's going through. Now, I understand also that, you know, if you're drunk and behavior like this takes place, it is completely inexcusable. A lot of people are also arguing too, like, why did he specifically choose to use a slur compared to just saying, okay, the guy's a fuckwit, or, you know, just something really basic. The whole argument of drunk behavior is usually suppressed sober thoughts, with a lot of people now claiming that Haley Joel Osment is bigoted. And yet, the slur completely inexcusable. Sober, drunk, doesn't really matter here. It's going to offend not only people that look up to him and a very large group of people that look up to him, but also people he works with within the industry. All it would take is for one Jewish person that works at Disney to see this and decide, okay, I'm really offended because of what you said. I don't want you working on A, B, C, or D. And it's also the potential of Disney possibly facing some bad PR if they decide to keep Haley Joel Osment on board. Now, from where I'm standing, personally speaking, I think that this guy is just going through one of the worst situations of all time. Yes, it absolutely sucks that he mentioned an anti-Semitic slur here that pertains to a very specific group of people. I'm not sure where that came from. I want to believe that Haley Joel Osment is a genuinely nice guy, which I've always thought, though we don't really ever truly know who people are. His apology also seems very sincere as well. He mentions here, I'm absolutely horrified by my behavior. Had I known I used disgraceful language in the throes of a blackout, I would have spoken up sooner. The past few months of loss and displacement have broken me down to a very low emotional place, but that's no excuse for using this disgusting word. From the bottom of my heart, I apologize to absolutely everyone that this has hurt. What came out of my mouth was nonsensical garbage. I've let the Jewish community down, and it devastates me. I don't ask for anyone's forgiveness, but I promise to atone for my terrible mistake. No doubt he would have woken up from this blackout, saw the footage, and probably had a decent chunk of cement sitting in his throat. I think if it was a case of, like, Haley having a long-running track record of saying stuff like this, then yeah, by all means, give him the boot. He's had more than enough chances. The only thing he can do from this point forward is to pretty much just recognize his mistake, take accountability, which he has, and improve himself. Just ensure that, like, a situation like this doesn't happen again. Maybe getting intoxicated out in public while you're kind of going through a lot of baggage isn't a good idea. And so I just hope that from here on forward, he just sort of continues to work on himself and better himself as a person to avoid a circumstance like this again. But personally, I do think it would be an absolutely massive loss here if, say, hypothetically speaking, it was a situation where Haley starts losing out on many different opportunities going forward, but especially looking at the role of Sora. Haley's voice is so iconic, and for Sora to be replaced would be pretty devastating. I don't think anyone would ever be able to capture the same voice of Sora the same way Haley Joel Osment does. It's sort of iconic at this point, and I mean, he's been doing it for a long time, ever since he was like 11 or 12 or something. Like a long time. He grew up with this franchise. Now, I do think things will be fine. I think that Disney and Square Enix looking at Kingdom Hearts will probably show some compassion. We also have to think that there have been much worse cases of Disney stars doing things that have remained contracted to Disney. And personally, I do think in the grand scheme of like celebrity slip-ups, this is sort of at the bottom of the barrel, not trying to take away from the severity of the situation, but just in the grand scheme of things, I think it is a pretty minor misdemeanor. However, I think people do have to understand that, unfortunately, because of the anti-Semitic comment that was mentioned, unfortunately, we are facing a slight possibility where Haley Joel Osment may potentially jeopardize his position. I do hope that's not the case, because this is clearly a situation that is derived from a place of hardship. I honestly do hope that Haley can get the help that he desperately deserves. It's clear that he's just mentally not doing well whatsoever. To be fair, sometimes you sort of need to hit not complete rock bottom, but like a boiling point, and for like something to happen to sort of realize, okay, yeah, I need to get help. And so I think that is like the good that'll hopefully come out of this situation, that Haley does seek the help that he needs to get him back on his feet in a time like this. However, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, some pretty unfortunate stuff. I just wanted to talk about this because I feel like it is sort of relevant to Kingdom Hearts and stuff going forward, and again, it's been like the topic of conversation within the Kingdom Hearts community for the past few days, so I thought I'd just chuck my 5 cents in here. Be sure to slap that like button, it helps me out a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A big thank you to my wonderful patrons. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and we'll talk again real soon.